July 12th, and this is your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with the latest local news, including a large fire in Milford yesterday and a shooting outside Captain's Cove in Bridgeport. Kevin Coleman joins us for a look at the forecast and a Nutmeg Sports update later on, and Donald Dang, as always, will take a look back on this day in history. But first, according to the Milford Mirror, the smell of burnt chemicals and car fluids filled the air on Milford's Bridgeport Avenue Tuesday, where firefighters battled a blaze at Milford Auto Recycling, which is located just off of Bridgeport Avenue at 70 South Washington Street. Now, firefighters from Stratford, West Haven, and New Haven helped Milford firefighters at the scene where that fire erupted just after 3 p.m. Tuesday. By about 6:30, sources said the fire had been suppressed. Now, according to Fire Battalion Chief Anthony Fabrizi, multiple calls came in around 3:15, and arriving units found a large volume of fire at the facility, which is across the street from the Silver Sand Stop and Shop. Now, HAN's Milford Mirror was on the scene yesterday, where Fabrizi explained how firefighters were attacking that blaze. Take a look.
Approximately 3:15, received multiple calls for a fire here at the Milford Auto Recycling plant. Basically an auto recycling yard. Large volume of fire on arrival by fire crews. A large stack of cars in the rear, tires on fire, vehicle fluids on fire. Firefighters made an aggressive push to make an initial attack. The fire was very well seeded already. We had to manage to get foam on the fire as well in an effort to get it soaked in and suppress the fire. The stubborn part about this type of fire is the vehicle fluids, which do not respond well to just plain water. You need to get firefighting foam on them. In an effort, you need to get it on the seat of the fire in order to smother it. And we have a large volume of cars stacked upon one another, so getting on that seat of the fire is our challenge right now.
Now, the cause of that fire has yet to be determined. There were no injuries, but firefighters looked hot and weary during brief rests from battling that blaze. And you can get more coverage at milfordmirror.com. In other news today, one male victim is in the hospital after several shots were fired on the boardwalk near Captain's Cove Seaport in Bridgeport Tuesday evening. The Connecticut Post reports that police responded to multiple calls for approximately 8 to 10 shots being fired on the boardwalk at the seaport just before 9 p.m. The victim was shot as he exited the boardwalk leading to the parking lot. The victim appeared to have been the sole target of that incident, and officials say his wound was not life-threatening. The Bridgeport Police Detectives Bureau was on the scene conducting an investigation. And a New York man is facing an attempted murder charge after Stratford police said he assaulted his former girlfriend with a knife late Monday night. 19-year-old Nelson Santiago of Brooklyn, New York, allegedly assaulted his former girlfriend outside a home at 224 Dewey Street. This happened at about 11:22 p.m. Police said the incident started when Santiago confronted his ex-girlfriend outside that residence. Police said Santiago used a knife and stabbed the woman several times before leaving the scene. Police said the woman, who was not identified, was taken to Bridgeport Hospital for treatment of her injuries, and she's reportedly in stable condition. Now, police said an officer saw Santiago a short distance from the scene and apprehended him after a short foot chase. He was ordered held on a $1 million bond and was brought to Bridgeport Superior Court on Tuesday for arraignment. And the Monroe Police Department arrested 21-year-old Nicholas Ludwig for the second time this month on July 11th. Monroe police said a woman overdosed on heroin laced with fentanyl back on July 2nd. The woman was revived after several doses of Narcan, and during the course of the investigation, police determined that Ludwig had sold her the drugs at his home. Now, Ludwig was allegedly charged with assault, illegal manufacture, distribution, sale of drugs, and reckless endangerment. Earlier this month, Ludwig was allegedly charged with possession of narcotics, intent to sell, and carrying a fake firearm. Police said they found him hiding in bushes and acting erratically back on July 1st, just before 4 in the morning. Officers reported finding heroin, fentanyl, and a BB gun in his possession. A subsequent investigation led to charges for intent to sell. And in other news, a bus rider in Darien was charged with breach of peace for spitting on another passenger on June 28th. That bus driver contacted police at about 11:30 a.m. after that incident took place. Officers met the two women, one of whom said the other had spit on her for no reason. The accused, identified as 57-year-old Enid Gabrielle of Stanford, said she had been attacked by 3 men and a woman prior that evening and believed the other woman on board the bus to be her attacker. She said the woman had been taking pictures of her with her phone as well. The victim told Darien police she had never interacted with Gabriel before that morning, and Gabriel was given a misdemeanor summons for breach of peace and a court date of July 10th. And a Shelton man, formerly a resident of Avalon Gates in Trumbull, has been charged in connection with an accidental discharge of a firearm during an unrelated argument at an apartment complex all the way back in 2014. Now, the initial incident took place in the summer of 2014. A resident at a complex heard the sounds of a fight coming from outside and walked over to his window to look out. He then reported hearing a gunshot seemingly come from inside his own apartment, and he looked up to see a hole in his ceiling with smoke coming from it. Now, police did not file any charges in connection with the fight, but spoke to the resident's upstairs neighbor, 28-year-old Matthew Duncan, about the gunshot. Duncan told police he owned a gun but had not fired it. A few days later, the complainant found a spent 9mm bullet on the floor of his apartment and called police again. This time, officers pushed a rod into the hole in the ceiling and discovered that the hole originated in Duncan's apartment. Duncan then admitted he had been startled by the sound of a fight a few nights before and had accidentally fired his gun into the floor as he went to look outside. Police got a warrant charging Duncan with unlawful discharge of a firearm as well as reckless endangerment and interfering with police. He turned himself in on a warrant June 30th of this year when he learned about the warrant when he went to apply to purchase another gun last month. And police in Glastonbury say a detective posed as a record producer to arrest a local rapper suspected of stealing credit cards from cars. Glastonbury police say Zoe Gangstalicious Dowdell was arrested Friday on theft charges. It couldn't be determined Tuesday if he has an attorney. Now, the AP reports that police began investigation back in April. Police say surveillance video showed two men using a credit card that had been taken from an unlocked car. They say one of the men was arrested, but officers had trouble finding the other man, identified as Dowdell. Police said they found Dowdell's rap videos online, and a detective contacted him posing as a record producer interested in his music. Police say Dowdell agreed to meet Friday at his office, which was a local shopping center, and Dowdell was arrested there. All right, well, switching gears, let's throw it over to Kevin Coleman for a look at the forecast. Kevin.
Thank you, Kate. We got a mix of sun and clouds this morning with some scattered thunderstorms coming around this evening time, and even in some areas, these storms could be severe, so be on the lookout. High around 87. We look at tomorrow, partly cloudy early with some scattered thunderstorms developing in the afternoon again, high around 89. Look over to Friday, and Friday's not going to be pretty. We got thunderstorms and showers on and off throughout the day. A lot of it in the morning time as well throughout your morning commute, high around 73. We move over to Saturday. Showers in the morning, but it's going to clear up. Partly cloudy in the afternoon. It's going to stay clear throughout the night, high around 83. And we wrap up the weekend on some positive news. Sunday, it's going to be mainly sunny. Sunny skies with high around 86. That would do it for your weather update. Kate, back to you.
All right, a mix of good and bad. I'll take it.
Good and bad. I think we're going to see some positive news coming up next week.
All right, I like it. Well, we are going to step out for a break, and when we come back, Donald Engel will take a look back on this day in history. Kevin has your Nutmeg Sports Update, and there's more local news after this. Celebrate summer with fresh made-to-order picnic boxes from Walter Stewart's Market. We have delicious summery selections from buttermilk fried chicken to grilled lemon chicken kebab, grilled shrimp Caesar salad wraps, or lobster salad rolls. Our easy-to-carry picnic boxes come with your choice of a meal, as well as a dessert, beverage, and utensils. Order online for simple pickup options. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, and online at stewartsmarket.com.
I can't believe it.
Well, Dad, you did it. You sold 160 cars. Ready to go back upstairs now?
I think it's time. I wonder how the boys are making out in their new office.
Not what I had in mind, Kyle. What, Dad?
Maybe we should retire. Right now, lease a 2017 Rogue S for only $139 a month. Isn't it time you got Millerized?
If you've ever thought about owning a motor coach or learning about what it's like to travel the open road in superior style and comfort, then contact Dave's RV Center in Danbury, Connecticut. Offering the best quality Class A motorhomes from Newmar, travel trailers and fifth wheel lines from Surveyor, and a toy hauler line from Work and Play. Choose from Newmar's Gas Line, Baystar and Canyon Star, or from Newmar's Diesel Line, Ventana and Dutch Star. And with unparalleled service and maintenance, Dave's RV is committed to keeping you and your motor coach safely on the road and enjoying it to the fullest. Stop by their showroom, 2 Industrial Plaza Road, Danbury, Connecticut, or call 877-483-3866.
Want a new experience in car buying? Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram with one of the largest inventories of new 2- and 4-door Wranglers. We are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Come visit our new Ram Truck Center. Browse our websites, scapchryslerjeep.com or scapdodge.net to find the new Jeep, Chrysler Dodge car, minivan, or Ram truck you've been looking for. Just 2 miles from both I-95 or the Merritt Parkway exit 44. Save thousands right now at the Summer Clearance Event. Going on now through July 31st.
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier network, and we've also reached more than 2 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to this July 12th edition of your coffee break on the HAN network. Time to take a look back on this date in history with Donald Eng. Don.
Well, Kate, it was a big day for nimble-fingered fans of geometry. First, though, we go back to 1862, the Medal of Honor, authorized by the U.S. Congress for conspicuous bravery. Now, how conspicuous? Nearly 62% of recipients have received it posthumously. It is the highest military honor, although 8 civilians have received it, including Mary Edwards Walker, to date the only woman to ever receive the Medal of Honor. Walker volunteered as a surgeon in the Civil War and routinely crossed battle lines to treat injured civilians on the other side when no male surgeons would do so, fearing capture. Edwards, in fact, did become a prisoner of war in 1864. She would survive her captivity and live 55 more years, working as a suffragist and caring for orphaned children. 1962, 4 English teenagers play their first gig at London's Marquee Club. When the owner asks what the band's name is so he can introduce them, one of them happened to be holding a copy of a Muddy Waters record called Rolling Stone, and he gave them name as the Rolling Stones. The set list was comprised mainly of blues standards with covers of Chuck Berry, Jimmy Reed, Fats Domino, and Muddy Waters, among others. 1979, in Chicago, Disco Demolition Night, one of the most infamous nights in baseball history. A crate of disco records detonated on the field between games of a doubleheader at Comiskey Park. Fans had been invited to bring disco records to the game for the event, and before long, the vinyl discs were whizzing around the stadium like frisbees. 39 people injured on that night. After the explosion, thousands of fans stormed the field, and the White Sox forfeited the second game of the doubleheader. It remains one of the most extreme and infamous stadium promotions in history. Finally, now we go to 1960. God, I love these early television commercials. Look at this one.
Still tied score. And here's the tie-breaking question for Prunella with her magic Etch-a-Sketch and her opponent Maximilian with his magnetic Magna-Sticks. Ready? Draw or build the biggest animal in the jungle. It's the elephant. They're both right. How do they do it? Etch-a-Sketch draws and writes like magic. Turn the knobs and the lines go up and down and all around. No crayons.
That is absolutely impossible, by the way, if you've ever had an Etch-a-Sketch. Premiered on 1960 on this date, July 12th, for $2.99. It was an immediate hit, selling 600,000 copies its first year. It is in the International Toy Hall of Fame as one of the most creative toys ever made. I defy anyone, by the way, to duplicate that doll and elephant there. It's with an Etch-a-Sketch. I'm thinking that wasn't possible. Anyway, that is your look back in history for today, July 12th, and I'm Donald Eng.
All right, Don. Now, I do think Disco Demolition Night is one of your fave history
moments. I love it.
Because I think we have it in there every year.
Well, you know what? Last year I had it. Last year I used the video of it, of people running around and storming the field and cops chasing them. But it is, if you're a baseball fan, how can you not go with that?
Yeah, an Etch-a-Sketch, I could only make a line with maybe.
You can make it a rectangle, maybe. That's like the best thing.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Don. In other local news, ticks are out in higher numbers than researchers from Western Connecticut State University have found in this area over 6 years of collections and study, and they're carrying Lyme disease and a host of other afflictions that can cause serious health problems for humans. Now, Dr. Nita Connolly, director of the Tick-Borne Disease Prevention Laboratory at Western Connecticut State, said that the black-leg tick transmit the agents of Lyme, babiosis, anaplasmosis, and Powassan encephalitis. Dr. Connolly, a Ridgefielder and an associate professor of biological and environmental studies, said samples taken weekly since the beginning of May at sites in Ridgefield, Newtown, and Danbury have consistently shown increased levels of nymphal stage blackleg ticks, commonly known as deer ticks. Now, the lab reports that its weekly sampling for deer ticks shows the highest population levels that its researchers have found since 2011. All right, let's throw it back over to Kevin Coleman for a Nutmeg Sports Update. Kevin.
Thanks, Kate. We got some baseball news for you. Sam West and Ryan Teixeira combined to throw a two-hitter last night for the Trumbull 14 and under All-Star team, who defeated Newtown 4-0 in the Babe Ruth State Tournament. Manager Mike Buswell's team improved to 3-1 and will play the winner of Stanford or Waterford on Thursday evening at 5:30 p.m. And last night, baseball fans from around the area got to see some great baseball players on the professional level. You also got to see UConn alum and star George Springer of the Houston Astros, Mookie Betts, Chris Sale, and Craig Kimbrell of the Boston Red Sox, Michael Conforto of the New York Mets, and last but not least, Aaron Judge, Gary Sanchez, and Dellin Betances of the New York Yankees, who got to play in the 88th Major League Baseball All-Star Game down in Miami. The American League won 2-1 thanks to a solo shot by Robbie Cano in the 10th inning. Cano went on to win the MVP. Today, coming up at 2 p.m. on Nutmeg Sports, we have myself and Joe Mixie getting you all caught up on local news. We'll also have Paul Carcaterra, ESPN lacrosse analyst. He's going to join us in the beginning of the show. And then live in studio, we'll have Mike Buswell and his 14 and under Trumbull All-Star team is going to come in live in studio. We're going to have some fun. He's going to bring 4 of his players, and that's coming up at 2 p.m. Be sure to follow us on Snapchat and Instagram for all behind-the-scenes looks as we get ready to go live at 2 p.m. That'll do it for your Nutmeg Sports Update. Kate, back to you.
All right, sounds like a great show coming up today. Well, back to local news. The Ridgefield Planning and Zoning Commission has scheduled a public hearing for Tuesday, September 5th for an amendment that would alter the town's residential zoning regulations. The amendment, which has put forth by Peaceable Street residents Jeffrey and Jennifer Hansen, aims to delete private clubs as permitted uses by special permit in residentially zoned land. The Hansens are trying to stop a proposed project at 340 Peaceable Street that would build a winter club on the former Peaceable Farm property. Now, that club would have 275 members and include parking for 102 cars. No formal application has been submitted, but attorney Bob Jewell and his client Bud Brown have outlined the project at 2 pre-submission concept meetings this spring. You can get more at theridgefieldpress.com. And in Easton, residents are fighting a change about town meetings, which are the legislative body of the town. Ann Minuski has submitted a petition signed by 60 residents demanding that the Board of Selectmen in Easton overturn this year's budget referendum. The petition calls for a town meeting about the first selectmen's decision to discontinue postcard warnings. Postcard warnings of town meetings had been town policy for more than 55 years, according to Minuski. Now, the petitioners want a new, properly warned annual town meeting and a budget vote for the 2017-2018 year. The town clerk reviews petitioners for verification, and once verified, the petitions are submitted to the Board of Selectmen. A town meeting then must be held within 21 days. Now, Minuski believes an error was possibly made by First Selectman Adam Dunsby in making a policy change without going to a town meeting. She and the other signers have called for a town meeting to address that matter. You can get more at eastoncourier.com. And the founder of a newly formed foundation is looking for 4 students to teach literacy and life skills to low-income men and women in the Danbury area. Terry Jennings of Easton founded the Ledgeway Literacy Foundation to improve the lives of non-English speakers in the area. She teamed up with School Superintendent Dr. Thomas McMorrin and Dr. Gina Pinn, Joe Barlow High School principal, to make it happen. Now, non-English speakers are often afraid to do simple things like go grocery shopping because they can't understand the language, Jennings said. They are at a disadvantage work-wise, so the goal is to improve their English to improve their job prospects and their earnings. Now, if you're interested in getting involved or finding out more, go to eastoncourier.com. But we're going to step out for a break, and when we come back, we're going to recap some of the top stories we're following on your coffee break after this.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Located in Fairfield, Connecticut, we're easy to get to. Just 2.5 miles off the Merritt Parkway, exit 44 via Route 58 South. Save thousands right now at the Summer Clearance event. Going on now through July 31st.
don't have to go far for authentic Neapolitan cuisine and renowned wood-fire pizza. Pizzeria Loretano of Bethel is a contemporary Italian bistro, specializing in authentic wood-fired brick oven pizza Napoletana. Pizzeria Loretano was named one of America's top 1,000 Italian restaurants in 2008 by Zagat, and recommended by Jane and Michael Stern on National Public Radio's Splendid Table. Located close to the Bethel Cinema, we focus on quality, and our food is always made to order. Join us for live jazz Sundays from 6 to 8. Find our schedule, menu, and more at pizzerialoretano.com and like us on Facebook.
At InSports Trumbull, the game is always on inside. Registration is now open for our fitness training programs for high school athletes. The InSports Performance Center is offering blast speed classes, athletic functional movement assessments, and both men's and women's elite speed and strength training. Our premier programs help bring athletes to the next level. Call 203-268-1214 for more information. Like and follow us on Facebook.
School's out, the weather is hot, and the fish are biting. Whether you're heading to the beach or out on a boat, stop in at the dock shop before you go to fill your beach bag or tackle box with everything you'll need for fun in the sun. A new beach cover-up, some sunscreen, or just some bait, the dock shop has you covered from either location. 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport. And yes, you heard that right. Bait is now available in Darien and Westport. The dock shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
I'm Tracy Masella, a licensed clinical social worker at Silver Hill Hospital in New Canaan. Join me each month as we talk with experts on the front lines of the treatment of mental health and addiction. Straight Talk with Tracy, a Silver Hill Hospital production, airs at 12 p.m. on the second Thursday of each month here on the HAN network.
Welcome back to this Wednesday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, recapping some of the top stories we're following today. Now, the smell of burnt chemicals and car fluids filled the air on Milford's Bridgeport Avenue Tuesday, where firefighters battled a blaze at the Milford Auto Recycling, which is located just off of Bridgeport Avenue on Washington Street. Now, firefighters from Stratford, West Haven, and New Haven helped Milford firefighters at the scene where that blaze erupted just after 3 in the afternoon. By about 6:30, sources said the fire had been suppressed. Now, according to Fire Battalion Chief Anthony Fabrizi, multiple calls came in around 3:15, and arriving units found a large volume of fire at the facility, which is across the street from the Silver Sands Stop and Shop. Now, HAN's Milford Mirror was on the scene yesterday, where Fabrizi explained how firefighters attacked that blaze. Take a look.
Approximately 3:15, received multiple calls for a fire here at the Milford Auto Recycling plant. Basically an auto recycling yard. Large volume of fire on arrival by fire crews. Large stack of cars in the rear, tires on fire, vehicle fluids on fire. Firefighters made an aggressive push to make an initial attack. The fire was very well seeded already. We had to manage to get foam on the fire as well in an effort to get it soaked in and suppress the fire. The stubborn part about this type of fire is the vehicle fluids, which do not respond well to just plain water. You need to get firefighting foam on them. In an effort, you need to get it on the seat of the fire in order to smother it. And we have a large volume of cars stacked upon one another, so getting on that seat of the fire is our challenge right now.
Now, the cause of that fire has yet to be determined. There were no injuries, but firefighters looked hot and weary during brief rests from battling that blaze. And you can get more at milfordmirror.com. In other news, one male victim is in the hospital after several shots were fired on the boardwalk near Captain's Cove Seaport in Bridgeport Tuesday evening. The Connecticut Post reports that police responded to multiple calls for approximately 8 to 10 shots being fired on the boardwalk at the seaport just before 9 p.m. The victim was shot as he exited the boardwalk leading to the parking lot. The victim appeared to have been the sole target of the incident. Officials say the wound was not life-threatening, and Bridgeport detectives were on the scene conducting an investigation. And a New York man is facing an attempted murder charge after Stratford police say he assaulted his former girlfriend with a knife late Monday night. 19-year-old Nelson Santiago of Brooklyn, New York, allegedly assaulted his former girlfriend outside a home at 224 Dewey Street at about 11:22 p.m. Police said the incident started when Santiago confronted his ex-girlfriend outside the home. Police said Santiago used a knife and stabbed the woman several times before leaving the scene. Police said the woman, who was not identified, was taken to Bridgeport Hospital for treatment of her injuries, and she is in stable condition. Police said an officer saw Santiago a short distance from the scene and apprehended him after a short foot chase. He was ordered held on a $1 million bond and was brought to Bridgeport Superior Court on Tuesday for arraignment. And in other news, the Monroe Police Department arrested 21-year-old Nicholas Ludwig for the second time this month on July 11th. Police say a woman overdosed on heroin laced with fentanyl back on July 2nd. The woman was revived after several doses of Narcan, and during the course of the investigation, police determined that Ludwig sold her the drugs at his home. Ludwig was allegedly charged with assault, illegal manufacture, distribution, sale of drugs, and reckless endangerment. Now, earlier this month, Ludwig was charged with possession of narcotics, intent to sell, and carrying a fake firearm. Police said they found him hiding in bushes and acting erratically on July 1st, just before 4 in the morning. Officers reported finding heroin and fentanyl and a BB gun in his possession. A subsequent investigation led to charges for intent to sell. And a bus rider in Darien was charged with breach of peace for allegedly spitting on another passenger on June 28th. The bus driver contacted police around 11:30 in the morning after that incident took place. Officers met with the two women, one of whom said the other had spit on her for no reason. The accused, identified as 57-year-old Enid Gabrielle of Stamford, said she had been attacked by 3 men and a woman the prior evening and believed the other woman on board the bus to be her attacker. She said the woman had been taking pictures of her with her phone as well. Well, the victim told police she had never interacted with Gabrielle before that morning. Gabrielle was given a misdemeanor summons for breach of peace and a court date of July 10th. But let's get one final look at the forecast with Kevin Coleman. Kevin.
Thanks, Kate. Mix of sun and clouds this morning with some scattered thunderstorms throughout the afternoon going to the evening time, and in some areas it's going to be a little severe, so be on the lookout around Fairfield County for these severe thunderstorms. It'll be a high around 87 today. Tomorrow is going to be partly cloudy early with some scattered thunderstorms again in the late evening time, early afternoon time, high around 89. And we look at Friday, it's not going to be pretty. Thunder showers and showers on and off throughout the day, and it's going to be a high of 73. We look on Saturday, things start to improve on Saturday. Showers in the morning, but it's going to clear up in the afternoon time. It's going to be partly cloudy in the afternoon throughout the evening time, high around 83. And we look on Sunday, things are start to improving as we see mostly sunny all throughout the day, high around 86. So that'll do it for your weather update. Kate, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Kevin. Well, we're going to wrap things up here on your coffee break, but coming up at 12:30, CT Pulse, I'm joined by Marty Schwartz, who is the CEO of the Kennedy Center in Trumbull. We're going to be talking about his long career and impending retirement, and of course, Nutmeg Sports coming up at 2 o'clock. We'll see you tomorrow for your coffee break at 11. Have a great day.